Hello guys, it is Monday, July 28, 2025, and we're back at the job site. A lot of things have happened since we last did our job here. We got a couple of the lath and stucco guys over here. We got Maestro Julio. He's been doing this for a long time, but he has only been over here, man, can you believe it? He's only been over here for one day. And look at how much him and his crew has gotten done. We got two houses. We got one house almost totally covered. One problem that we had earlier, the framer, he was responsible for installing the windows and everything. And on this particular window, he didn't use these furring strips, these things right here. He didn't use these to bump out the window for this particular side of the house because the exterior of the house has a bunch of shear wall sections. And basically a shear wall is something that's engineered by the engineer in his design, or it's something that's included to give the house its structural stiffness and strength. So basically to create a shear wall, you'll take plywood panels and you would place them wherever the engineer deems reinforcement in a shear wall fashion is required. So as you can see, these windows are flush to the surface of the deck here, but over here, there was no shear wall required. So what they did was to kind of get it to where everything would lay out evenly, they put little furring strips on all of the stud and frame members in order to step it out. But you can see right here, this window is recessed in there, and that's not gonna work because when they put the stucco on here, the stucco is gonna be roughly flush to the edge of this, but we want a certain amount of this lip to be in a reveal. And so we had a couple of other issues, and you can see he's furring out the bottom here. And then we got our weep screed, which is going to be the terminating edge for the stucco. And they're going to end up probably coloring this with stucco too, just to blend it all in. And then everything you see where he's standing is going to be re-leveled. We're going to raise the earth height probably about another foot to 14 inches. Yeah, excuse me, Julio. Yeah, I used to work for a stucco family, a company. Pretty much everybody's dead and gone except the grandson. He wasn't able to get his license to do the stucco, but he's kind of working as a freelance guy. We would have had him on this job, but we need a licensed company. But I did my drains over here for the condensate for the cassette that's inside the house here, and I also did our gas service. We had a problem passing our load calculations for the electric because we had everything set up to where we're going to have an electric water heater, and this was the 220 service that I installed to plug in the water heater once it was installed, but we ended up having to abandon that as an option. So I ended up having to install gas service. And I kind of wanted to show you that a little bit, just a little bit. I did a relocation of the water heater right here, and we haven't quite finished this. This was just a quick jump in order for us to be able to start working on this house about 2 months ago. But over here, we had Southern California Gas come through, and they made some marks, some little red marks here on the wall where they said, this is where we're going to locate the water heater. This is where our inbound service line, which is this line here on the water heater, is going to come in. And this is where we're going to have the meter. And there was a red mark over here where I made my hole. And they said, this is where we're going to end up running the gas supply to the meter. So here you got your inbound here, inbounds there. We got the install here, or the inlet here, and we got the inlet here. And then we have the meter, which is in the middle right there. So I basically ran a 1-inch line because we have 3 appliances. And we had to do a calculation to determine the right pipe size based on the specifications for the water heater. And as it turns out, we needed 1 inch all the way up until we got to this point where it's just the water heater itself and the clothes dryer. We're gonna go inside and take a look at what I did in there. Yeah, everything's looking very clean, very orderly. And we have empty wheelbarrows, empty trash cans for the little scraps that the gentlemen are going to create. They gave me their word they were going to come clean up at the end of the day. And here's one of the cartridges on the wall that's going to be mounted on the wall. And as you guys can see, I got this one mounted, installed, pretty much like I did for the other job in the other unit. Where is my, should be, I think it's here. Yeah. So here's my my Smurf tubing and my thermostat control wire. And then we got everything up in here. In fact, let me take a jump so I kind of even show you guys that. Pull this down. So basically that Smurf tube goes all the way up and around and down, and then it comes out there, and all my controls are there. Got my refrigeration line strapped. Everything's ready to go. And you can see we got, I created like a little framework support using all thread and some all thread mounting brackets. And then I ended up hooking that up. And then what I wanted to show you was the gas service. We have the hookup for the stove here, and I already have the gas service under test. And it's been under test for about 5 hours now, so if I had any leaks, it would show. But to have a gas service under test, you're going to inflate with air pressure or nitrogen pressure, depending on what you have to pump up the system, to 12 pounds per square inch. And the test is supposed to last for 15 minutes. If you have a drop in pressure, I think it's greater than a half pound in that 15 minutes, then you have a leak that you got to solve and resolve and fix. So here we got the outlet for the dryer here. And as you guys saw on the outside, I don't know if you remember, I was pointing out the 220 plug that we had set up. We have, and I'm going to point this out for anybody who's an electrician, just so you know that I know, and I don't want anybody posting in the comments, what in the heck are you using 14.2 to power up a water heater? Normally, the gauge of wire for a water heater is number 10, or sometimes number 8, depending on the size and the capacity of the water heater. Believe it or not, Rheem and some other companies are creating water heaters that are like heat pumps. And when we got the specifications, looking at the blueprints and all of the electrical details on the plans, I was shocked, and even my business partner, Michael, he was surprised to see that the water heater is only required to have 14 gauge wire, you know, to supply the system with adequate power to heat up a 40-gallon tank with sufficient hot water to supply the whole house. Amazing. Very much amazing. And as it turns out, we thought we were going to have to abandon this location because of the window issues on a standard regular gas-fired tank-style water heater. You cannot have your stack, the exhaust vent for the water heater, to be within 36 inches or 30 inches within an opening. So no matter where we were going to set this thing, the opening distance between here was only, I think, 60 inches. So we needed 72. But as it turns out, we were going to do electric water heater. We thought we were going to have to put it on the wall over there. But according to the inspector, he's basically saying if the install guide has a recommendation that is less than what this code standard is, we will accept that, and you guys can go back to putting the water heater in the location where you want. So that was the reason why we decided to come back to this, save all of this extra tubing and work extending the pipe over there. And now we have the gas dryer here, and then we have the hookup for the water heater outside over there. So making good progress. Yeah, I made a bit of a mess over here, guys, only because I've been working like crazy. I've been kind of a little tired, and sometimes you just kind of let things go a little bit in order to get ahead. So I got a doctor's appointment because I'm having some problems with my hand. Just so you guys know, I had hand surgery back in February. I had physical therapy. Everything went great. But now I'm getting some clicking actions in my pinky and my finger. So I might have to get a bionic hand to replace it, man. We're starting to move into that technological age of advances, miraculous advances and stuff. But anyway, just so you guys know, I haven't started running my condensate drains for any of these units over here. The only one that I did do was for the cartridge. And as you can see, the condensate drain here is insulated. And I only do that because we live really close to the water, and humidity values are such that I've found that the condensate drain, it will be so cold that it'll start to sweat, and that condensate on the outside of the condensate drain line will turn to liquid water and create all kind of issues later on down the road. So in anticipation of that happening, I did the same thing here. Condensate drain for the cassette goes over to here and down and out. And I'm going to do the same thing for the wall units as well. And let me see, what else did I talk about? In reestablishing power here, word was we were going to end up putting the main panel either against the wall near this window or on this blank wall with no windows, somewhere along that way. And so the inspectors required me to set up my conduit, and I definitely did. I hooked it up, and it's literally just laying underneath the house. I've got photos. I took those for the inspector. He's gonna want to see more once that new panel's put in. This is going to be the sub panel for this unit, and I think that's about it. And the insulation guys, believe it or not, folks, they were here in and out one day. So even though it's been a few days since I recorded, the day that they showed up, they were in and out. So we have an inspection set for tomorrow. And as soon as the inspector gives us the green light and leaves, I think I'm going to record him saying farewell. I think I'll do that. Most of these officials, they're a little camera shy. They don't want to be, noted. But I'm going to see if I can catch him saying, you guys have yet to fail an inspection, because that's one thing I'm very proud of. We do so much pre-planning and preparation that the work goes super duper fast and our inspections go without a big headache. So hope you guys enjoy this video. Hope you learned a little something about lathing and plastering. And there was one more window that wasn't installed, but and I'm going to show you that the framers, they knew what to do, but for some reason they just didn't do it on the last window. So on that first window that I showed you guys, they didn't step it up, right? Well, over here, the framers they encountered the same situation where the shear wall, as you can see, terminated right at the edge of this window. So I think what caused them to actually put this furring strip in front of the window before mounting the window was that the shear wall terminated right at the edge of this. So in order for them to really do their thing and get this thing in the way it's supposed to be per code, they had no choice but to add this furring strip around here. So that cued them to do that here, but for some reason it didn't cue them to do that over there. And they were supposed to come back and do this window as well, but they didn't do it. So if they don't take care of that, they're gonna vote me in to do it, because believe it or not, when I was a firefighter, I got started into doing construction, working with a gentleman who was snatching out windows and installing them in Palos Verdes. So that was where I got my first start in construction, where I got paid. And so I learned a lot working with him. Shout out to Mr. Luka Jazvik. And I think this company was Sea, as in the ocean, SEA, Sea Dreams Built. And I don't know if he's still rocking and rolling. If he is, give me a ring, man. You got my channel. Send me a message on the chat, comment or whatever. Or you got my number, or you can see me on Facebook. But with that, I'll end this video. I'm gonna make a couple more videos on a personal level later on this evening. I hope you guys will come back to watch. Take care.